Man, this is lifestyles of the poor and unfucking fortunate. But I tell you what, but bitch, we got views.
All right, ChadArmesTV, we are back, and I'm excited about this interview because this is somebody that my lady put onto my radar a few months back, and she's really starting to make some noise in the country rap scene. And this is Jessie B.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, and I'm very glad to have you. She's actually performing tonight with Fathead and with Blind Fury and 3NT Productions at this show that we're at here in South Carolina, and we were able to lock in an interview. And what's crazy, before we get into it, I had multiple people message me on Instagram asking if I was going to link up with you and do an interview when you were in Nashville for Church's show.
Oh, wow. Okay, gotcha.
So people, and I was just like, just stay tuned. We're you know what I mean? Yeah, we're getting to it, but we'll just get right into it. First of all, thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's
for coming through.
Be here.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll do like we do with all the ChadArmesTV interviews. We want to kind of let my subscriber base know a little bit about who you are. Obviously, we'll have all your links in the description and stuff. But we can just start from like, where are you from?
Yeah. So I'm actually originally from South Carolina, a little town called Tillman. It's probably, I think, about 3 or 4 hours from here. Grew up there until I was about 5 years old, and at that time my parents separated. So we decided to move on out to Charlotte, North Carolina. We lived with my aunt for a little bit, and that was a big change for me. It felt like I was away from home, like really far away from home.
Right. And
it was kind of hard to build friends in that environment because I didn't feel like I related to anyone. Around, I'd say after my sophomore year of high school, we decided to leave and move to a place called Mebane, North Carolina. And my family was living in that area. It was so much better. I got out of a really toxic friend group, and I was able to kind of explore who I was and be more myself around people I could engage with, you know. So we get there. I went to school. I finished out my high school years with my cousin. All our family was connected in school. And there was one turning point when I started to consider doing music. And that was I believe it was my junior year. I was in my English class. And my English teacher had us do what's called like a rap battle for 2 characters in a book that we were reading in class. I was hella nervous because obviously I'm a white girl going up against a star football player. Right. And I get up there and he spits his little like 8 bars, and I was like, well shit, I've got like 3 pages worth of lines.
Yeah, so you had a whole clip for him. Yeah, you had a whole clip for him.
So I start going at it, and I remember looking up from my paper after I was finished, and everybody was looking at me like, holy shit, like that was really, really cool. And my teacher, she couldn't believe it. She told all the other classes after that class period about this rap battle, and that kind of boosted my confidence. And I was like, man, you know, maybe I can do this kind of stuff. Well, I jump over to about 2 or 3 years later. I went to East Carolina University and spent about a semester there, and decided that college was not for me. I was going to school for marketing. So I ended up dropping out. I moved back to my dad's house in South Carolina, and that's when COVID hit. So it was like, shit, I mean, I can't get a job, nothing's open. So I decided to start writing music. And I had always grown up listening to country rap. I'll be the first one to say, I was never like a huge diehard rap fan, like it's the soul of rap. But country rap, I would say I'm more of a student to that. And so growing up listening to Upchurch, listening to Bubba Sparks and Charlie Farley, like the OGs, it inspired me to follow suit with that. And I felt that connection that I lost when I lived in Charlotte with this music.
Right.
So I'd say about a year after that, I moved back to North Carolina. I was diagnosed with anxiety. I started having anxiety attacks from being cooped up at home. And,
because of COVID?
Yeah. And I didn't know about it. I thought I was going crazy. I went to hospital after hospital and moved back to North Carolina to try to go to the hospitals in like Duke area. And that's when I realized it was anxiety. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to battle this. And I battled it through writing music, through trying to express myself. I had to basically start from the ground up again, had to get friends again. And it just started from there. I had done YouTube videos for a long time. I did like fishing vlogs and stuff, and that's when I decided to kind of just throw some covers on there. And February 19th of 2021 or 2020, I dropped my very first song, and that was called I Will, and it was garbage. It was trash.
Right.
I didn't know how to mix and master. Yeah.
I feel you.
I didn't know how to mix and master. I didn't know that you could buy beats. I didn't even know what ad-libs were. Like, I didn't know anything about it. And so I just decided to teach myself. I reached out to countless influencers, DJs, producers, just asking for any advice. I even ended up reaching out to Chase Matthew, and he helped me out a lot. And it just started building from there. Slowly, I taught myself how to make my own beats. I taught myself how to mix and master. And, you know, I still got a lot to go, but I started somewhere, and I finally found something I resonated with. And I think that's what I've been looking for throughout starting this music. And now it's blown up bigger than I ever could imagine. And I'm still small, you know, so it's, if anything, from this genre and doing this music and building this career, I've learned that there are people who don't just see this as songs and singing. They see it as a family. They see this genre as their family tree. I mean, I'll meet people. I was at the after party at the Upchurch concert, and this young lady came up to me and she just started freaking out. And I was like, what? And she goes, I love you so much. And it just touched me in a different way. So, I mean, that's how it all started, and that's where we're at as of right now.
Yeah, and so just to give the people a perspective. Yeah. She is a youngster, okay?
Yeah, I'm only 21.
Yeah, she's only 21 years old. So when people are watching this, or I don't know how many people are familiar with you. Hopefully, everybody will be, you know, once we get this going for you. But to know that you're only 21 is dope, because that just kind of gives you an idea, and it makes total sense to why you said you're not so much influenced by rap, but country rap, because that's how you were brought up as far as the lifestyle, I'm assuming.
Right.
So you obviously are going to relate to that style of music, because they're talking about what you liked. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So like that makes total sense. So when you started writing and stuff like that, like going back to like the thing at school, did anybody know that you were kind of dabbling with writing, or had you written anything before that?
Yeah. I remember when I was in college, right before I dropped out, the one friend I had in college, her name was Caroline. And Caroline, if you're watching this, I love you, man. But I showed her a couple things I had written down. I showed her some like videos of me just in my room, and she was like, you know, country rap's really not my thing, but that's actually really cool that you're doing that. And I remember calling her late at night when I had finally dropped out and I was at my dad's. I was like, dude, I think I really want to do music. I think this is actually something I want to do. And she was like, well, go for it, man. I'm going to school. I'll be your manager, bro. Like, get it done and do it. And I never thought from that point, looking at where I'm at now, that it would get to this. But I did have that support group with my one best friend and my family. Obviously, they've always supported me since day one. So
that's dope. Yeah. That's dope. That's dope shit. Like, that's cool that you started doing that, and the way that you got into doing it. Coming from somebody that's been doing it for like, well, it'll be 20 years next year, but like the way that you had to go about doing that is like, you talk about jumping in face first to be able to do like a rap battle, so per se, in front of your classmates. Yeah. That's like a high pressure situation to start.
That was super intimidating.
It's not like you just wrote something and you recorded it in your own little studio and then you sent it to people. Yeah. And you said when you started, you didn't know as far as structuring bars. Were you just writing? Was you just writing lines?
I was just writing lines. And still to this day, like something will catch in my head and I'll just write it down and I'll save it like in my files for later. Yeah. But then I had a little composition notebook and I would play something just to get me in the mood to write. And normally it was Upchurch or AKL or whatever. And then I would just start writing and whatever that beat would make me feel is what I would write down on paper. Yeah. And then that whole notebook is filled with a bunch of trash bars, but that's where it all started.
If I still had my notebook from when I first started, but that's the thing, like you go back and you listen to, like, you're going to sit, and I'm telling you it's going to happen because it's happened to me. In 10 years, you're going to hear the song that you dropped last week, or you know, your most recent one that's doing really well. Yeah. You're going to hear it in 10 years and you're going to be like, that's not any good. Yeah. Because 10 years from now, you're going to be so more evolved from where you were now. It's kind of like an in the moment thing. When I was rapping in 2003, you couldn't tell me my stuff wasn't good, and it was terrible. But in my head, I was like, this is
I'm a baller, bro. Like,
this is dope. But I mean, that's just kind of how I think that's with everybody. It's not just with music too. I guess with any kind of craft or art that you have, if you're an artist and your first painting, you're gonna be like, man, if you're 10 years in, you're gonna look at your first one and be like, that's elementary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's how I've always been. Like, even now I go back and listen to my first song, I'm like, man, that master was just not it. That wasn't even mastering. That was like apprenticeship right there.
Right.
Like, but no,
Right.
Now looking back at it, I never thought it would actually be something. I was still working in this little warehouse. I used to work at a metal warehouse.
I think you talked about that when you saw, don't you?
Yeah. And I remember taking the back of work orders, and I would listen to Adam Ivy and Crackalack. They were some influencers online that talk about how to market yourself. And like in between, while I'm doing my work and I'm shuffling through parts, I would write down all this information. And Country Rap Report too, they would do all these marketing plans, and I'm writing it on the back of work orders, like sneaking them so they don't get in trouble, obviously.
Shout out to Vic and Spank.
Oh yeah, dude,
they're definitely,
they've helped me out a lot.
Yeah, they're definitely go-to people for the genre as far as like just with anything. So shout out to them guys. They've been really, really good to me too. Yeah. So, but that's cool though. That's dope that you're, because the thing that you run into a lot too with artists, and not even artists at your age, a young artist, but artists in general, just working with so many over the years, there's so many that will not take criticism.
Yeah.
But the ones that don't take criticism are not artists anymore.
Yeah.
I've seen them come and go because you have to be able to do that.
Yes. Yeah.
You have to be able to be humble enough to say, well, this person's saying some shit that I could really benefit from, instead of, because the mindset has always been, it's like a competition. Now, it can be friendly, but like there's enough out here for everybody.
Right.
And people, and like when people are starting to kind of realize that, but I've seen so many of them situations end up like that just because people you can't tell them anything.
That's the best thing. Like, straight up, when I watch reaction channels, my favorite thing is a criticism, because it's great. I love watching channels that will be like, oh man, this is fire, this is great, and that's awesome. Like, makes my heart so happy. But when someone is like a professional and they know like, hey, this doesn't sound quite right, I still like the bars, but maybe this could have been tweaked, that helps me to grow and then be better. That's why if you hear a song I do now versus a song I did last year, it's completely different, because that criticism is what helps me, and I wish more people would understand that. They're not criticizing you just to be a dick or not to be an asshole. Right. They're trying to show you, like, this is how you can be better. And a lot of people who like this genre, they want you to do nothing but win. They don't want you to, to fail. Yeah. The artist, the true artist.
No, absolutely.
But yeah.
And if you see me looking down, I'm going over like your catalog. So
no, you're good.
I'm not just tuning out. I'm doing my research.
No, you're straight, bro.
So you said your first, like I know you did some remix. I know you did the County Line remix, the Chase stuff.
Yeah.
So like, you said your first single that you released on streaming platforms was which one?
I Will.
I Will. Okay.
I Will. That was my first ever song, and then I released a couple things on YouTube, like the Chase Matthew remix, and that's actually how me and him got linked up the first time. I never thought he would see that, but he literally FaceTimed me the next morning. Was like, "Dude, this is fire," and I was like, oh.
Chase is a dope. He's a dope dude. We're gonna link up at some point. It's just scheduling, but Chase is. I'm glad to see him doing everything he's doing. He's a superstar.
Absolutely.
For sure. And
he's just getting like started.
He's just getting started. He's like a year in, because I remember when me and my buddy Squints went and did the church interview last July. Yeah. It was when they just announced that they were signing Chase Matthews. So you got to look at it like it's not even been a full calendar year.
Right. And he's already. Yeah.
So like, to see where all he's went and what all he's done in less. I mean, you're looking at like 10 months.
Yeah.
It's so incredible. Like that just shows you. That just shows you too, like, what can really, you know what I mean, happen if you put the work. I mean, if you work at it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So shout out to Church, shout out to Chase.
That's probably one of the biggest things that's inspired me is watching his work ethic, and he is nonstop, like on the ground. He's constantly putting stuff, and that's kind of where I learned to build my social media. Is he would say, you know, just take your song and like repost it like 3 or 4 different times. Yeah. And so that's what he does. And he builds up this hype unlike any other for his releases. And when his Born for This album dropped, he'd already got all these people so excited. So that's definitely something I look up to for sure.
For sure. And me doing this for as long as I've done it, I'm just now realizing that, because I'll make a post, like a video clip of one of my songs, and then I'm like, I don't ever repost it because I'm like, I already posted it. But what I'm not realizing is the whole algorithm now with Instagram, Facebook Reels, TikTok, like that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Because so many people, like if you make a post and then 2 weeks later you've already made 10 or 12 more, that one's not even getting looked at unless you're pinning it or whatever.
Right.
So you kind of got to, and I'm just now starting to do that myself. So that just comes with evolving with the way things are going.
Absolutely.
So you're continuing to go. You dropped. When? Okay, here's a good question. When did you see things start to take like an upswing? Like when you started it, because you said you've only been really doing it for a little over a year, right?
Yeah.
As far as releasing music.
Right.
When did you really start to see stuff starting to come together?
I think after my first music video, the Full Throttle Baby, and like I had dropped I Will, and that was the only song I had that was available on like Spotify or anything.
Yeah.
When I dropped Full Throttle Baby, me and my brother got together with our little phone and shot a video. And when Country Rap Report got a hold of it and did that, I think some other reactors kind of took a hold of it. And then it started to bloom into something after that music video. But when it really hit, and like bigger names started noticing me, was the People's Champ remix.
Oh, when you did the stuff at church. Yeah, for sure.
And I think the reason, that was on a whim. I remember hearing the People's Champ and I was like, man, this is badass. And that hook is just like crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this justice, but like, I want to be one of the first to put a remix out on this because this is a fucking hit.
Yeah.
And so I'm listening to it. I'm like, well, I don't know. So I sat on it for like 2 or 3 hours, and I remember getting up out of bed at like 11 o'clock. I said, no, I'm fucking doing this.
Yeah.
And I recorded. I think that was like the most comfortable I had felt on the mic because I was just like playing with it. It was a song I really, really liked.
Yeah.
And it was a beat that I absolutely loved. It was, the flow of it was awesome.
Yeah.
And woke up the next morning. Well, I didn't even go to bed that night. I woke my mom up the next morning. I said, Mom, I just posted this on YouTube. Like, check it out. And then people started reacting to that because they were like, oh, this is a girl. Like, she got some gonads to be doing that shit. And then when church saw it, I was actually at work. And I think it was like around lunchtime. But it was right before I was about to go on my break. And my phone just starts blowing up. Like, what the hell is going on? Like,
I know how that goes. Yeah.
And so I finally look it up, and everybody's tagging me in this live stream. I'm like, what is going on? And it said Upchurch or whatever. I'm like, okay. So I go to like my feed, and I hear my song. Like, he's in his car, and I hear my song playing. And when he said something, he was basically talking about like, hey, if y'all want to scoop up all my work, or if you want to scoop up what I'm touching and everything I'm doing, like, here you go, here's a remix. So at first I was like, oh shit, did he like it? And I kept doing some research, and then he went live and was like, no skin, like, where's Jessie B? Someone tag her, someone get her in this live stream. And I got like the tail end of it, and I was like, oh my god, like, and I think in that day I gained like 3,000 followers. It was,
I'm sure,
it was crazy.
Yeah, that's dope. That's just how that stuff goes sometimes. Like, you don't ever know. You hope whenever you put stuff out, you hope that it gets to certain eyes and ears to where it can, but you don't ever expect it to.
Yeah.
You just hope that it does, and if it does, awesome. But in your mind, you're trying to be reality based. You're like, well, hopefully they'll see it. Maybe they'll think it's cool or something. But when something like that happens, that's always really dope because that's kind of what he did with me. Like, I did my interview with DJ O-Rig last year, and I've known Ryan since 2015. But when he tagged me and said, "Hey man, I like your interviews. If you want to come over to my house and do an interview with me," and he tagged me on Instagram, I was like, "What?" We were out to eat, and then 2 days later, we're in his house interviewing him. So it was kind of like, it was and that night when he shared us on his story, I mean, the whole time I was interviewing him, I had to turn off notification because that just come through.
Yeah.
So like, and it was super cool of him to do that. We had a real good interview, and it was just dope. But that's cool. That's cool that he did that.
Right.
Because I remember seeing that, and then I remember seeing something else. Was he like at a gas station? He said something too.
Yeah.
I guess he was clearing up.
Yeah, he was just clarifying because even people in the comments were like, "Yeah, who the fuck does this girl think she is trying to rap on a church?"
And they thought that he was like dissing it, but he was basically saying, "I think she's dope. Now y'all go ahead and run with her because basically."
That's what that final post was. He kind of went and explained it because I was freaking out. I was like, I'm crushed. Like, one of the biggest people I look up to in this industry hated what I did.
Yeah,
and all these people are trolling me. They're like, man, fuck you. Get out of here. You're not a rapper. And then when he goes on live stream, he's like, I'm not talking about her, like, trying to copy what I'm doing. I'm talking about I've clearly basically inspired her to do this remix, and now everybody's going to come after you. So you've got to protect yourself, and you've got to basically look out for the snakes that are going to come after you now. Yeah. And that's what that post was at the gas station. And so it was just crazy how it all came together. And like I said, now I'm still building. And when I went to the show in Nashville, I did not expect for people to like recognize me, especially when I went to go introduce myself to him. I was like, yo, I'm yo, I'm Jessie B. And he was like, there's no need for introductions, bro. Like, I know who you are. And I was like, that's crazy.
Oh, so you got to meet him there? That's cool.
Yeah,
that's
I was for like,
yeah.
It's for like a split second because there were so many people crowding him, and I did not want to be that person to be like, hey, look at me, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And so I kind of gave him a break to like let other people come in, and I was like, hey, dude, I don't need a picture. Like, I just want to introduce myself. And he's like, no need. I know you are. And he's like, keep grinding. And I was like, I fucking will, bro.
Yeah, that's all you need. Awesome. Is just that you just need that stamp. That's all that was. That's real shit. And it's especially like to go from like you feeling down here because you thought he was making fun of you or dissing you, to go up here when you're like, oh shit, the video was kind of confusing to like what he was saying.
Yes.
He knew what he was saying, but like I see where it got confused. But like to go from here feeling like that to up here, obviously that was probably a good thing because nobody would want to hear that from like somebody that they are inspired by.
Right.
So that was dope that worked out the way it did.
There's a lot of mixed emotions that day.
I'm sure.
First I was like,
and you're working too, so you're like
trying to focus. I'm over here trying to do stuff on the computer.
Sure.
It was terrible.
So then, so you did that one, and then you released one called "Rhyme to My Reason," right?
Yeah, that was my most recent official release. That one.
I think that may be my favorite one that I've heard.
Yeah,
that was dope. Yeah.
That music video, gosh, we threw that together so quick. Mm-hmm. We had tried I think it was like 3 weekends. We had tried to schedule like to go to places. And there was one scene at the very end where I'm at this gas station, and I was like, I just want to get like an old gas station behind me. I want it to make it look like kind of cinematic or something. Yeah. And we're sitting there, and this guy comes like out of nowhere, walking down this hill, down the street towards us. He's like, y'all all right? And I was like, oh, we're fine. You know, I guess maybe he thought we were broke down or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay, well, I just want to come up here and talk to y'all and see if y'all had any money. Man, I almost had to go rob the Dollar General.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh,
time to leave.
I don't have anything, but let me go in the truck and see if I got something. And I went to go to my truck, and my cousin was standing there in front of me, and she was wearing like a cute, girly outfit to take photos. And he was like, man, you're so beautiful, and he tried to hug her. I was like, oh, sir, like that's sorry. I know you're just being friendly.
Don't make me dump you on your head out here. Yeah.
So I kind of like was talking to him and telling like motion her like go around the truck and get in and we're leaving. And he was like, well, you got any money? I was like, unfortunately, I don't have any cash, man. I don't carry cash around like that. But let me ask her if she's got any. So I opened up the door. I said, get the fuck out. I said, go. And so that weekend kind of crushed that filming. And then we went to the arcade and we tried to get some more shots there. Yeah. And then they had this huge party, and then just like one thing after the other that whole weekend. So we kind of put it together, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this for the reactors. They are the rhyme to my reason. For all the fans who send me videos of like their kids listening to my song. Yeah. It warms my heart. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to put Spank and Vic. I'm going to put all these little videos and whatnot.
That was cool how you did that. You incorporated that together. Yeah.
And just threw it together best we could, and it came together in a way that I think meant a lot to them, and it also means a lot to me to go back and listen to it. Like, all these people know my name, all these people support what I'm doing, and I just want to give back to them in some kind of way. So it was awesome. That's cool.
And then we can briefly talk about, I guess too, like you're pretty consistent on TikTok too.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You're doing videos on there.
Yeah, this week I haven't been too consistent since Nashville, but I actually, this is like 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I wanted to do some like comedic videos just to get people excited, because typically, for some reason, the way the algorithm works is if you talk to the camera, if you like vocalize something, not just like use a sound and like dance to it, but if you say something funny to the camera, it just hits and like people catch it on their For You page. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do some funny redneck shit, and I'm going to just stereotype the hell out of different types of rednecks. So I called it Redneckinize the Redneck. It was like a series where we like break down different types of rednecks. Yeah. And it just hit. The first one got like 600,000 views, and it just kept going on from there. And I went from 23K to 65 65K.
Oh wow, you had a big jump.
Yeah, it was huge.
Just from that stuff.
Just from those, like, I think it was like 12 videos.
And that's over a 2-week span?
That was over 3 days.
Oh wow.
And it's still like, I'll still get notifications on my phone from that stuff hitting. So I'm definitely gonna try to dabble more in that. But
no, for sure.
yeah.
Because one thing that I will say too, and I'm sure you know this, but nowadays it's not about just being able to make dope music. People want to invest in you as a person. Right. So like, you can have dope music, but if you've got a dope personality and you're very like, you come off good on camera, you're funny, you interact well with people, that's what really make people buy into.
Right.
That's why they buy into people like the Ryans and the Calhouns and stuff that are at that level. Jelly.
Yeah.
From that tier because of their
so,
personality, in addition to them being dope at music. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about, because that's all it is now, because everything's visual now.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all the years I made music, I only had on one hand how many music videos I had. I've done that many in the last 6 months, because now it's like, it's not like it was. I mean, you can make dope music all day, but if you don't have visuals,
they want to see it.
They want to see everything, and they want it quicker now than they did before.
I think back, I'd say like maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I was just posting my songs on TikTok. I was just posting my songs on social media, and I wasn't really giving them any more insight. So then I was like, okay, well, Spank and Vic are telling me to be more on camera, to be more visual, so let me post like a questionnaire on Instagram. So I started there, and then I was like, well, you know, fuck it, like all these people, they ask me for behind the scenes, they ask me to see like your day-to-day. And so when I started to just be myself on social media, it was like, it just took off. Yeah, go ahead. Well, you can use that platform to then, because I still get people who message me like, yo, I saw your like Redneck and I's, the Redneck series, and then I checked out your music. I had no idea that you like did music. And so it
that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be, because a lot of that is how Ryan blew up.
Yeah.
Because Ryan blew up on Vine.
Yeah.
And then made a video, like he talked about it with us, like he made a video making fun of strippers. Yeah. And then he didn't even know that it was on the internet. And somebody at a bar told him, hey, you're that guy from YouTube. And then showed him the video and had all these hits on it. But and it was just kind of one of those things.
Yeah.
So like to be able to recognize that and to know like, okay, cool. If you stay tapped into that and you just keep building that, because that's just going to do nothing but help your music.
Absolutely.
And either way, like it's like a two-headed monster really, because you've got this market, even if the people don't really relate to the music so much, but they think you're hilarious and they love your TikToks. Yeah. Well, that's an audience that'll buy merch. Yeah. That'll do all that stuff too. So it's working out for you. You just got to keep grinding at it.
Yeah, definitely.
I noticed, what is the next, I know you posted a song, a Ricky Bobby Let Me Do It. That was just you like a playful type song, right?
Yeah, I literally did that 2 days ago. I just made the beat and sang on it and wrote it. And I was like, you know, I think I'm just going to throw this on YouTube for like something funny. Yeah. Well, that one, my YouTube is it doesn't get a whole lot of traction. That one hit like 1,500 views in 1 day. And some of my videos, that's all they get. It's like 1,500 views like 3 months. Yeah. And so that was like, oh, okay. I guess this hit like a recommended page, and people in the comments are like, I don't know how I stumbled upon this, but this is funny as hell. Yeah. And so I thought about it. I was like, you know, if I take out some of the clips from the actual movie and just have my beat and my lyrics on it, you know, I might actually be able to release this as a real song. Because so many people are like, oh, it's so chill and it's funny, you know, and get it professionally mixed and mastered. Because, like I said, I'm still doing this in my own home studio. Yeah. So that one, I really would like to drop a music video, but I want it to be a good quality, like funny.
Yeah, video. For sure. Like, yeah. So. Do you have a new one? Do you have a new single that you're working on?
I
currently?
do. So it's actually not a rap song. Okay. It's actually more of like a party, like country song. Okay. So it's, I guess I'll kind of leak some information on it. It's called Last Call Celebrities, and it's basically talking about how everybody knows us at this bar. We're a celebrity in this town. They know our drinks.
Like local legend type stuff.
Local legend type song. So that one will hopefully be out by mid this month or end of this month. But
cool. Well, I appreciate you giving us that info. Yeah. We'll probably drop this interview this week most likely. I know we got one that we did with Fury too. Oh yeah. But we'll try to get it out there quick. But all I can say to you is we see what you're doing, and anything that I can do to help you out, if you want advice or if you want whatever.
Be careful
I'm
now. I'll bombard you with questions.
That's fine. I was telling my lady that I want to help you any way that I can, because I see your talent, but then I see like your work ethic. You can see that. You can see that you're genuine, and those kind of people are the kind of people that I relate to, just because that's how I am. So.
Right. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. We appreciate you for. I know this is a busy time because you're about to do a show, but we appreciate you coming through and sitting down with us. And
well, I appreciate the invite, man. It's been awesome.
For sure. So y'all be sure to go follow Jessie B on YouTube and TikTok. We'll put all of her links in there, and IG and all that stuff. And stay tuned. She's all of her music links and everything will be in there. So ChadArmesTV, we really do appreciate you, Jessie B.
Hell yeah! Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Love you guys.
All right.